Hi, I'd like to invite you for a walk and talk in this beautiful valley of Lorien. I'm residing here. It's not far from Prague. When I first came here 3 years ago, I since moved away and came back, but when I first came here it was such a context of relocation for me. And it was a very stressful period of time, like for some 3 months. Constantly I was planning that relocation that was kind of not really forced, but it was under stressful conditions. And I was moving from St. Petersburg, shutting down my operation there and moving here to Europe. And it was really very deeply stressful. I was in this fight or flight state for maybe 3 or 4 months while I was juggling all my life around the transition. And when I came here into this rich nature, I felt so blessed. I'm so thankful to the people who maintain it here. There is a community here, and of course, as in any relationship in this community, we have our discussions, our agreements and disagreements. But the depth of love and care that is put into this place is just amazing. And just the earth, just the ground, like walking barefoot on the ground. Yeah, it's amazing. When I first came here, I felt it physically in my body. I felt how my nervous system is just realigning. I don't know, I didn't have the vocabulary back then, and I still don't understand all the processes that are happening when this deep rest is started in the body. But it was really not only psychological, it was very, very physical. And for me, I felt how the energy of the earth is taking all that stress away from me, and even some trembling sensations were arising in my body, like the release of the stress that I had. And I was just really chilling here, not doing anything, not doing any work. For the first, couple of weeks, I was laying on the grass, walking, and that's it. That's all what I was doing. And I must say that I don't know how people who are relocating for some stressful reasons, how they cope without nature, if they're relocating from a city to another city, if they don't have such support that I was blessed with. I really don't understand how it is possible to cope with that. Yeah. So I want to explore the phenomenon of rest, reset, recreation. You know that when we say redo something, recycle, rethink, redesign, it creates this association of sustainability, creates an association of remaking, of refreshing, but also there is kind of a deep legacy of something that is not being given up on, but something that is being organized, and the good stuff is being kept, the bad stuff is being thrown away, and even the waste is being utilized for the next cycle. So this prefix that we use in words, it is this transition prefix. And this is interesting. For example, it is not etymologically meaningful what I'm about to say, but it is just fascinating how the words, they have those mirroring effects. For example, the word re in Italian or Latin rex is a king, so it is a royal word. The sound re, it is the sound of some mature wisdom, weight, authority, and in our modern context of sustainability, it is the sound of remaking and recreation. So this is what happened to me in this royally beautiful valley. Just amazing nature. I was recreated into something new. How does it happen? To us, it's always mystery. And of course, if you are blessed with such access to community and nature, this is bound to happen to you naturally. That after stress, you just arrive back into this harbor and you can melt into the scenery and be refreshed. But what to do if you're not blessed with that, if you don't have access to that? This is hard because I do have it now, and I'm really thankful every day for this. But of course I haven't had it all the time. I wasn't raised in such beautiful nature. I was raised in a city. I visited nature every summer, and I really started noticing these effects even when I was living back in the city. So this is one of the key things that should be done if you are feeling burnt out or you're feeling in the end of some cycle, is really to find the way into the purity of nature and ask it for help to reset you. So I'm going to camp here under this beautiful oak tree and share with you a few tips from the wheel model. So what I was describing is here in the wizard stage, is the end of the cycle, when we are really filled and overflowing with the energy of something that was happening to us. It may be the development of our business, it may be the relationship that has had its iteration and now is ready for some new cycle, like spiral. But in order to get to the new energy, we need to let go of the old. When being in nature, even just placing my feet on the ground helps. Earth sends its electric field, its energetic field through my body, and I feel how the old stuff, just the tiredness, is being sucked away from my body, and it creates space for something new. But it's not always enough just to rely like that on nature, on the earth, because sometimes the energy is really very deeply stuck. We often come to the transition process, we often come into the work, the inner work. We look for coaching help, we study yoga, we start engaging into some activities like that when we feel that we are in the end of the cycle. And that's important because this archetype of the wheel is called the wizard. The wizard is in the end of the cycle. You see, the cycle, it starts in the child, here in the child, it goes up towards the hero and the creator archetype, and then it goes to the archetype of the wizard, which is kind of the autumn archetype, the end of the cycle, decomposition. And what happens in our mindset in the Western world, let's say, in the linear mindset, is that we don't accept that. We want this circle to be like a flat line. We accept the growth from the child phase to the hero, to the creator. We accept that there is this upward motion, but we don't accept the downward motion from the creator to the wizard. We just say, oh no, like it doesn't suit me. It's dying, and we try to grasp it and to keep it from changing and to keep ourselves from changing with it. And sometimes the transition is just so obvious that we understand that, look, I am changing. This requires me to step into something, into some instruments for rewriting, rewiring myself. And then we go into the work, we go into the practice. We start searching for the answers. And we go into the wisdom practices as well. Practice is not only physical, it is also the practice of the heart, the practice of the wisdom. We can search for it in faith, in religion, we can search for it in yoga, we can search for it in a gym, I don't know, in some learning a new language, anything. But really, the yearning here is to find a tool that will set us free. And this is our intuition, tapping into the archetype of the wizard, for which the virtue or the energy of light is freedom. Freedom from the definitions of yourself, from your old self, from your any self. So one of the meditations for the wizard stage is neti neti. I'm not this, I'm not that. This is a yogic meditation disconnecting you from your attachments to your identities. So when I was back in St. Petersburg having a business, and then I shut it down in the year 2022 and moved here to Europe, I could have this association and attachment to my identity as a business person, business owner. Currently I have even an employment in another company, and I do private practice like this. I don't have my own business and this sense of ownership anymore. So I needed to disconnect from that. I needed to sit in meditation and say, I'm not this, I'm not that. And this is painful because it feels like you're losing yourself. But in fact, you're just losing one layer, yeah, like an old layer of skin. Our skin cells and the cells of our body are changing, dying out, and the new ones are coming. And in nature, such metaphors are present in more powerful ways. A deer is dropping off its horns in the end of the cycle and growing new ones for the new cycle. So if he doesn't drop old ones, then he cannot grow new ones. That is logical, and that's what we often forget to do. So that's why reset, retreat is important. Recreation, rest. So retreat can be a focused rest. When you book some time, it can be like a vacation, but it can also be like a more spiritual or inner work-oriented psychological time when you retreat. So you go back. It's a backward motion a little bit, and you give yourself time to reset. And the practices that facilitate that are here in the wizard archetype. Yeah, so there is the neti neti meditation. There are practices of contemplation, stretching, poetry, rituals, of course, the rituals of closure, and anything that gives you freedom. So closure gives you freedom because you drop off something old, like old horns. They have served you, but you don't need them anymore, and new ones will come. New riches, new identity will come. And there is also the mystery of shadow integration happening during the wizard stage. When you discover something, some trauma pattern in yourself that has been kind of having you under control, and you're able and ready to release it. But the thing is that, why is it called shadow integration? It's because our shadow, even though being kind of the negative, you cannot only always just drop it off and kind of forget it and burn it. Why did I use this analogy with recycling? Because you take parts, bits and pieces of the shadow, of the trauma, because it has the wisdom, and the wizard is akin with wisdom. It is a wise person that knows that not only all the happy, sunny things are needed for our life, for our progress, also the shadow has its purpose. And we take our shadow, we take it and we accept it with what it is, but we also say to it, neti neti. We say, I'm not this, I'm not that. We say, hey, my shadow, you have served me and you have informed me of the threats, and you have also raised the red flags to bring my attention to something that is coming, that is needed, that is calling for my attention, something that I need to either process or integrate or release. And it was boiling, and it needs a healthy release. And the energy of freedom, the energy of contemplation allows for the healthy forms of sadness and grief, for the state of the world, for the state of your life in some matter. And this can be channeled into art, into poetry, into music, into painting, into some form of creation with the intention of release. Because when you put it on paper, when you put it into the physical form, even when you put it in motion, when you do the yoga practice with the intention of release, with the intention to embody, in some moment you do embody this shadow, and then you release it, then you leave it in the form. So you create a form and you leave that energy within that form, and you step out of that form, and the energy stays within that form. So you are free. The energy of the wizard, you really need to flip a coin. You really need to access the transcendent mindset, because it seems to you that the cycle is dying. Something is dying. My old life is dying. It is coming to an end. I don't have the energy anymore. I cannot do this anymore. I'm so tired. This is the energy. And you step into retreat. You leave vast space for yourself to regenerate. But when you do conscious practice, like such points within that retreat, to give yourself a message, reprogramming, reprogram yourself. The intention is to express what is the sadness about, because the shadow of the wizard stage, the weakness or the shadow, is the sadness, regret, depression, looking back, trying to get it back. Give it back to me, bring it back to me. I don't want to lose it. I'm trying to stop the decay, the downward motion of the cycle. I'm trying to stop the night. I'm trying to save today, save tonight, and I'm fighting the inevitable sunset, the inevitable coming of the new phase, because I don't want the new phase. I'm quite happy with my old phase. Yeah, I'm quite happy with how things are. Why do they need to change? I don't want that. So this is the shadow, yeah, because they are changing. The life is the motion forward, constructive energy, and it is going, and you are clinging to the old, and therefore you are sad because you see that you don't have the power to hold it. And either you kind of stay back in the old, in the regret, and you, yeah, like you stay back in the land, in the situation that does not have a promise for future. You just dive into this sadness, you chain yourself to this sadness, you anchor yourself in the past, and you stay with it, and life moves on. It moves on along the cycle. It moves down from the wizard to the child, to the darkest night of the soul. It moves down, but you don't want to move down. You don't want the night. You prefer to stay back and cling back, and it can be such light shadow, like kind of a bad habit of hoarding your old energies, your old habits, not letting them go. Or it can be very dramatic, like cry for no, don't go, yeah, something like that. And in this situation you are kind of staying back. You know, like Alice in Wonderland says that you need to run very fast in this world to just stay on the same place. And when you stop this motion forward, your life goes forward. And where you are supposed to be, it goes forward. And you are staying back. It's like there, that little tree, yeah, and I'm here. And the distance between us is tearing on my heart, and the life has moved on, and I'm staying back, and I'm contemplating that from the distance, like a lover that I see from outside. Yeah, I'm looking in some coffee place, some bar, and there is that person that I used to have attachment to, affection, but it is old love, and I am staying back, and this person is moving away from me, and I'm experiencing the sadness like an observer from the outside. Yeah, isolated from this forward motion. This is the energy and sadness of the wizard, of the old person who is disconnected from life. It is not their life anymore. The life belongs to the young, and this is the energy that we can feel about our transitions when we are hurt by those transitions. So this is the shadow of the wizard, yeah, and it can be as well that the transition feels like you are intentionally going back, not that the life is going forward away from you, but that you have reached a point where things are declining. And you don't want to follow those things that are declining. Instead, you want to turn back, and instead of just kind of fearing to go into the child, you want to climb back into the creator, into the top archetype, into the summer. You want it back. So I want it back. I will win it back. So it can also have this kind of energy of more empowerment, seemingly. But the trick here, and the wise thing to do, is yeah, you can win it back, but you need to go like that. You need to go all the way through the cycle. You need to go through the child, through the hero, where this energy belongs. I will give it, I will win it back, I will get it back, yeah, I will get back my power. But you need to allow for this decomposition first. And this is why it is the wizard, because your task here is to let go, which seems like dying, with the faith that there will be rebirth. And this is the transcendence of it. And it requires power of will beyond your average human power. That is the wisdom and the magic of the wizard stage. And that's why we go on retreats. It helps us when we change the situation, we bring ourselves only, really, and we immerse ourselves into some completely different circumstance, and then we can have this internal dialogue. Well, am I still me without my old identities? I still kind of do feel like me. My shadows do come with me, and I need to give them space to integrate them into myself. Yeah, like to utilize the wise parts, the parts that are an authentic human expression, because we don't want to be unattached in a sense of impassionate, in a sense of detached, yeah, or dissociating from life. We don't want that. We want to live our sadness and our grief and, yeah, our concern for the fate of the world and our affection to the love and the beauty of something that has passed. We want to live it with the passion, with the fire in the human heart that makes us human. And this is what we can integrate into ourselves. But we want to leave behind the tragedy of it, the death of it. Because even though it is very hard to hold space for those energies of decomposition within us, even the downward motion of energy in this stage, it is helping us. In this stage, the energy is going down, the light is losing its power, and the days are becoming shorter, and we are becoming less strong. This is the transcendence of the wizard, to give up the power in order to be reborn, to be new. Yeah, give up part of your power to give up part of your suffering. This is how we stay authentic, and we can live through this emotion of something living our life, but the memory staying, and we become smaller. Yeah, but we become more free, as like a particle. We can reach the state of being a particle of light, completely detached and released and liberated from all of our identities. We are just the soul, and everything else is matter. And we have given this tribute to it in the form of art, poetry, journaling, release, all the rituals. And we have let it then be diving with this downward motion of the cycle, be diving into the earth sucking it out of our system, and it will rest there in the earth to be alchemized into the material for some new cycle. And our eternally pure, light and innocent self, higher self, the soul, is liberated, and it can cross this threshold from one cycle to another, like from one life to another. When it does emerge on the other side as a child, as a newborn, it may forget a little bit what it was as we return from a retreat, from a vacation, from a conscious travel, or from just a time in our country house that we have managed to carve out to hold space for this process for ourselves to decompose and to come back. Yeah. So when we do come back to our life, it may seem a little bit foreign, as if we have truly been reborn and it is someone else's life that we're coming into. But the power here is that we have already detached from our habits a little bit, and we can redefine new habits. And all of our life is around us, and we own it. We can tap into it. We can use it as we need. And the child will play with that matter and create new castles of sand and new dreams from it. And new inspiration will come because the soul is completely liberated. So this is the transition. And the rest and retreat is this smaller model of this energy of rebirth. A small transition like that can literally happen to you every weekend if you manage to create this, for example, a day of digital detox. Yeah, or you know this sensation when you go swimming, floating, yeah, like almost weightless, like this particle of light. You're swimming, especially if there is also the sea and the wind is blowing, and you feel that freedom. The energy of freedom, anything that brings you that energy, sitting on top of a hill and letting the wind blow into your face and blow all the thoughts away from your head. Yeah, riding, anything that brings you this kind of freeing energy, and it is all within you, accessible here. You can sit in meditation and access this state, neti, repeating that, and then climb into the top of the mountain. So when I go to the sea, I often feel, after immersing myself in the water and just being there for some time, then I feel tired and I feel kind of heavy but also kind of empty, and there is this very pleasant tiredness and kind of very pleasant apathy towards what is happening in my life. I really feel that the sea, the water, the rocking motion of the waves, it takes away, it shakes off my identities and my troubles. And with this state, I can access the freedom of myself from my identity. So here is, the task is really to break this knot, break this chain. And then, of course, I will come back to my identity. I will step back into my shoes of my life. But I will be a little bit reborn. And my energy will have shifted. And I will be able to explore my life with the child eyes, with the awe of, oh wow, we're really not dead, we are still alive, and there is so much to explore and to do with this life. Come on, yeah? And all the old is integrated into this soil for the new life, and our patterns that were, of course, the negative patterns can come back and we will be repeating the cycle, but also the positive, our inspiring archetypes and symbols, our aspirations and dreams, they will come back in the form that will suit us most and best at this new cycle. Yeah, so that's how rest functions for me in this deeper energetic level, really helping us cross the threshold from the wizard to the child, from the autumn to the winter, and the phase of recovery and regeneration. The child begins in that phase still, the emptiness, but already the emptiness, not the emptiness that is past the old cycle, but the emptiness that is before the new cycle. Yeah, incubation phase. So this kind of regeneration phase, it transcends and transforms into this stillness of the incubation, from which new life will be emerging. Right. I will continue my walk and finish my talk. Thank you for sharing this paces with me. Until next time.